Welcome, everybody, to Greg Cherry's Quick Picks here on the NoDQ.com YouTube channel. I'm, of course, the longest-reigning Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion in history, the Pennsylvania sensation Greg Cherry. Now, it's been a long time since I've done my own Quick Pick show, but I felt the need to bring it back because I haven't been able to make the panels lately because I'm too busy with the WTC tournament. But I do want to make my predictions since this is a big weekend for wrestling. NXT TakeOver, WarGames II, and the 2018 Survivor Series, which unfortunately I was not able to attend the NoDQ meetup to that. So this will be the consolation, I guess, to me not being able to make that. But let's start the weekend out with Saturday with NXT TakeOver. Only 4 matches on the main card as of today. I'm not sure if they're going to add Matt Riddle and Cassius Ohno to the card. If that happens, I'm picking Matt Riddle. So if that happens, there's my prediction for that. The main card, starting out with Johnny Gargano against Aleister Black. This match, I feel... realistically, all these matches could be matches of the night. I mean, it's NXT, and it's a fantastic card built up. Shows what happens when you have actual storylines behind the matches. Gargano and Black have been feuding now, realistically, since Black got taken out and lost the NXT Championship to Tommaso Ciampa. So this one I expect to be an incredibly hard-hitting match. I expect it to be... I wish I could say a bloodbath, because back in the Attitude Era, if this match happened with the wrestling quality and the violence that could happen, I could definitely see that. But I expect it to be very old school, and I expect Gargano to pick up the victory. Whether or not Candice has anything to do with that will remain to be seen, but I think Gargano picks up the victory over Aleister Black here. 2 out of 3 falls for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler faces Kairi Sane. And I believe that this match will feature the 4 horsewomen again. I think Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke will interfere in this match, whether or not anybody comes out to help Kairi Sane. This match will go all 3 falls. I expect it to go Baszler, Sane, and the final fall going to the champion, Baszler. I expect Shayna Baszler to retain in this format. The NXT Championship, Tommaso Ciampa against the Velveteen Dream. So far, I've gone with heels, so I think I have to switch it up, and I think the Velveteen Dream will become the new NXT champion. I think it'll be a clean match. I think it'll be a good 20-25 minute athletic showcase, as it were. But I believe that the dream is not over. The dream is just beginning. See what I did there? And of course, the namesake of the pay-per-view, which will likely be the main event, the Undisputed Era take on the War Raiders, Ricochet, and Pete Dunne in a War Games match. I kind of hope it's more of the classic style War Games match. Last year wasn't really War Games, because typically it was one person coming out at a time. So I kind of hope they go back to the original format of War Games, since it's just the 2 teams, that they start out with one person, then you go back and forth, another person coming out. I hope that's the way they do it. But this one is so hard to predict, because I don't want to say it'll be a heel-heavy card if the Undisputed Era win. In fact, I might have to go with the War Raiders, Ricochet, and Pete Dunne to defeat the Undisputed Era. As much as the Era is a united tag team, I think that they're going to fall here. And whether that leads to dissension or whether it leads to them losing championships and coming up to the main card after WrestleMania remains to be seen. But I'm going to pick the Raiders, Ricochet, and Pete Dunne. Now for Sunday, we have Survivor Series, and there's 8 matches to that show. Let's start with the kickoff show, the one that we know is going to be on the kickoff show. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the tag team Survivor Series match, led by team captains Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for Raw, and the Usos for SmackDown. I mean, how can you pick against SmackDown? SmackDown is stacked with, I don't want to say actual teams, but like, I find it very hard to believe that Team Raw is going to win this. I mean, you have the Revival and you have the B Team as really the only established tag teams, if you can call them that, on the roster. Now, the B Team is the only one of the 5 that has won tag team title gold as a team on the main roster, which is so weird to think about. So you got to go with SmackDown because you have Gallows and Anderson who have been tag team champions. You have the New Day who have been tag team champions. You have the Usos who have been tag team champions. The Colognes who have been tag team champions. Insanity who just got called up a couple months ago. So how can you pick against Team SmackDown in this? I can't, so I'm not going to. Team SmackDown for the tag team one. The Cruiserweight Championship, Buddy Murphy facing off against Mustafa Ali. I don't see a title change here. I think Buddy Murphy is going to continue his reign as champion. Whether or not they do anything with Cedric Alexander in the middle also remains to be seen. So I'm going to say Buddy Murphy retains the championship here, and no Cedric involvement. That's my prediction. The women's Raw versus SmackDown tag team match. Team Raw against Team SmackDown. I'm going to have to go with SmackDown on this one as well. Just because I feel like SmackDown needs the wins at this show more than Raw does. Especially coming off of everything Becky and the SmackDown women did on Raw on Monday. So I think SmackDown really needs the overall win because Raw's had it the last 2 years. And if Raw wins again, it kind of shows where SmackDown ranks. But I think with the new Fox deal and everything, they're going to want to make SmackDown look like the superior brand, which might throw one of my predictions kind of out the window. But I'm going with Team SmackDown for that particular match. The champion versus champion matches. The Bar against the AOP. I'm going to have to pick. I was going to pick the AOP. I really was. But I think for the purposes of SmackDown defeating Raw, I'm going to have to pick the Bar for this one. Even though I think AOP could possibly, and they might actually defeat the Bar in this match, I'm going with it just because I think SmackDown's going to win the overall night. So I'm going with the Bar to defeat AOP. Seth Rollins against Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm going with another SmackDown pick here. I'm going with Nakamura because I don't think Ambrose cares about brands. He just cares about hurting Seth Rollins. So Ambrose is not going to have a loyalty. He won't care if Stephanie or Kurt Angle come down on him and be like, hey, what did you screw things up for Raw for? He's not going to care. I mean, why would he? I mean, that would completely defeat the purpose of his character. So I'm saying Ambrose interferes and costs Rollins the match against Shinsuke Nakamura. The Raw versus SmackDown champion versus champion, even though it's not really champion versus champion anymore, it's going to be Ronda Rousey, the Raw Women's Champion, against Charlotte Flair, who is not the SmackDown Women's Champion, since Becky Lynch still is. I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey to win this match because really there's no reason for her to lose right now. I think Charlotte being the sub is fine for right now. I think the match will be great between the two of them. And it's not Rousey's fault that Becky Lynch is hurt. We saw what happened on Raw. So I am going with Ronda Rousey. WWE versus Universal Champion, Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. I have to go with Lesnar for this one. I know Daniel Bryan just literally won the title on SmackDown, but I do not see him defeating Brock Lesnar. Again, this is building up for Raw and SmackDown. Gotta have another close match come down right to the very end. So I'm going with Brock Lesnar to defeat Daniel Bryan in this match. And finally, what I believe will be the main event, likely, it will be Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the men's 5-on-5. And I have to go with Team Raw here, which seems weird because previously in the night, I may have to change my picks here. You know, I'm going to swap. and TJS is looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm going to swap my picks for a couple matches. First of all, I'm going to do Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the men's 5-on-5. Team Raw is going to win that one because of the whole Braun Strowman thing. They want to keep that storyline going. They want to have him face Lesnar again. I don't know why he would. I mean, he's failed at twice, but I guess Roman did too. So I'm going to switch my Raw versus SmackDown to the champion versus champions. I'm picking the AOP over the Bar now, and I'm going to pick Daniel Bryan to beat Brock Lesnar. I know it's kind of a contrast from what I said before, but I feel like perhaps Strowman interferes in that match and costs him the match against Daniel Bryan, but both of them are heels. It's a really weird dynamic that they're going with. So we'll see what happens. But those are my official predictions. I'm going over TakeOver again. Matt Riddle against Cassius Ohno. If that happens, I'm going with Matt Riddle. Gargano over Black. Baszler over Sane. Dream over Ciampa. And Dunn, Ricochet, and the War Raiders over the Undisputed Era. And then I'm going with Buddy Murphy to retain his title. Team SmackDown for the 5-on-5 women's. Team SmackDown for the 5-on-5 tag team. AOP in the tag team title, champion versus champion. Nakamura in the U.S. versus Intercontinental title match. Ronda Rousey against Charlotte Flair. I'm picking Rousey. Daniel Bryan over Brock Lesnar. And Team Raw, the men's 5-on-5 over Team SmackDown. All right, that will do it for my predictions. I hope I didn't confuse too many of you. But that was a extended episode of Quick Picks since I decided to confuse myself halfway through. But that's my predictions, and enjoyed the shows this weekend. And go Steelers, go Irish.